because as I said, I do know Ido, and as a result, we spoke a little bit before this game, and I was asking, you know, how are you feeling? How do you feel about this matchup? Give us something spicy for air. And he was saying, we have one quote that we can pull up later, but alongside that, he was saying that he's actually friends with the GM of No Org, and they have directly oppositional strategies when they were drafting their players. No Org's GM believes that you just go with established players who are just going to smash through the scene, and Ido believed instead that he wanted his strategy to be, we're going to pick up some talented new players and we're going to foster them to the point where they can just smash people like No Org has picked up. So I'm excited to see where that develops during the season, especially at the beginning of the split, but more importantly, as we get towards the end of Challengers Uprising, as we get to the end of next week, I want to see how these players have grown.
Speaking of growth, again, I want to talk about these jungle bans. Evil Geniuses get rid of both Olaf, because things grow in the jungle ban.
I still think that's not a great segue.
Alright, well, I thought if I repeated it for a second time, it would work out.
Just repetition makes everything more fun, yeah.
And anytime, here was my point, anytime you're playing into 5 fire and all of your bans are towards the jungle, because the Seraphine's basically mandatory, it's not Evil Genius's fault, it's not a particular target ban, you kind of have to ban Seraphine. So anytime you're playing against a team that has 5 fire on it and you have to ban out for another role first, you're in trouble. Case in point, the first thing that No Org do is they grab that Twisted Fate playmaker for 5 fire, enabling him to be a terrifying presence not only in the mid lane, but across the rest of the map as well.
This is really fun for me because I think I categorize 5 fire in my head as a Zoe player more than anything, because we have seen him just pop so many people's heads with the Zoe, but he has had some amazing performances on Twisted Fate. And especially with the growing pains, there's your growth segue, TJ, that No Org has been having with the new jungler, with Anda. I'm interested to see 5 fire able to move across the map and adapt to the shot calling differences that we're going to see here.
Yeah. We do get our first 2 picks for EG targeted towards their bot line. I'm sure we've touched on it on the desk, but No Org are one of the few teams in the league that prioritize their top side, that play through Viper and Anda dominating the top half of the map. Whereas Evil Geniuses, on the other hand, definitely do have an all-star bottom lane to play to. And they will be very happy to know that Shiro does have Aphelios. And there is nothing better to go alongside an Aphelios than a Thresh.
Yeah, it's actually one of the strongest bot lanes available right now, just in terms of all that it's able to do. You have tons of all-in, you have tons of disengage there from the Thresh. It's just an incredibly powerful bot lane. And No Org fittingly doesn't really have a great response into it, but they will be able to get through the lane there with the Nautilus Ezreal.
Yeah, I really like this, because as we talked about, No Org are the kind of team that play on the opposite side of the map, so they're not looking to dominate that lane in laning phase. If you can find big opportunities, that's great and fine. I'm sure they're not going to ignore that, but if you give value Ezreal, it's going to be real hard to lock him down, it's going to be real hard to land that hook, and that's going to give a fairly safe lane. And then if you're looking at junglers that can roam across the map and provide value pretty much no matter where they are during that early phase, Big has exactly who he's looking for in that Nautilus.
I'm looking forward to seeing what comes out of the top lane here, because this is where No Org really excels, like we were saying earlier, very top focused. And Viper has been playing, frankly, some pretty disrespectful stuff up in the top lane. Previously, he was playing a lot of Vayne top, but in the most recent series, has been pulling the champion pool back to something a little bit more respectable. You know, we don't want to see that Vayne top on broadcast. You save that for your private stream.
Case in point, here's the Shen ban. That is specifically because of how much value Viper can find from it. Because Viper, if they are given Shen, is basically a second man in any individual skirmish, any individual fight across the map. Anda is then unlocked to do the stupidest stuff in the jungle, because they know that Viper, once he hits 6, can stand united, teleport in, and protect that jungler.
And I'm feeling this draft so far from Evil Geniuses, because really the thing that I have recognized Anda for in the games that I've watched from No Org is that really aggressive style. Not quite the same as Mike Young, of course, hence the growing pains, so to speak. but a very aggressive early game style where Anda just gets in your face, tries to steal whatever he can, and forces you out of your own jungle. Denying a total of 5 jungle champions from Anda, make it 6 with the Hecarim, is going to make it difficult for him.
That's actually wild. That's actually insane. Right, so the Hecarim does... Do you think if they didn't have to ban Seraphine, it would also be a jungle ban?
At this point, kind of. It just feels like Evil Geniuses are going real far in.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is losing them stuff because you get the optimal AD carry for value and the optimal mid laner for 5-fire. So it is costing them something. So you have full committed. Oh, an Elise. Okay, so let's talk through this one part at a time. Evil Geniuses do get a Hecarim in their own jungle. Tomia plays a really solid Hecarim. Aspect gets a Sylas. Aspect has played a little bit of a Champion Ocean recently. But that Sylas indicates they're going to be playing more aggressive alongside that Hecarim, very likely making plays of their own. I want to see this Evil Geniuses team build their way through this bottom lane, and that means Mist should have a fairly safe top laner. Case in point, there's a Maokai that can just kind of sit on that top side of the map, be an anchor for the team.
Maokai is back, baby. I'm happy to see it outside of the support position. This is really important because the problem that Surdy is going to be facing this entire game is just dive after dive after dive after dive. So if you're looking at the top side of the map, you have Renekton, Elise, which already make the strongest early ganking combo in the game. Then as soon as you hit 6, you have a Twisted Fate. So if there's ever a situation where Surdy is not directly under the tower, he's potentially dead at any point past 6. So that's really rough.
That is something that we need to pay attention to because, as you're talking about, there is a really good draft for it. The Renekton Elise is real scary, but also it's exactly what No Org play to every single game. They are always on that top side of the map trying to invest the leads earned by Anda into their top laner. So getting to see that mismatch where we're expecting EG to be sending this Sylas Aspect Sylas down towards the bot lane, setting up for players trying to get their team fight of Aphelios ahead so that they can win team fights, versus No Org, who would just like to blast open the game as quickly as possible by boosting that top lane ahead, taking control of an entire side of the map. That's a really fun mismatch to watch. It's gonna partially at least come down to which of their losing lanes can lose less badly.
Yeah, and on that point, I really want to look at objective control of this game because that really is what's going to be most affected by the side control. You look at the top side of the map, and No Org almost certainly going to be taking away those heralds, but it depends on how long Evil Geniuses keep that bottom control. If they're able to secure 2 drags uncontested, maybe find a third with a little bit of a fight, suddenly there's a ticking timer on the back of No Org to deny that soul point. And that interplay is going to become more and more important, especially when we get around the 20-minute mark. And that's what I'm going to be looking forward to.
We also have the first 5 minutes of game. If you've been watching Amateur this season, you will know that not every team survives the first 5 minutes of gameplay against No Org. In fact, quite a few of them just get blasted out of the game before it even begins. So watch these level 1s. If No Org are able to have perhaps a Golden Guardians Academy style level 1, the game may just be over. Evil Genius's strength, the reason they won the first tournament of this year, was, they team fight really well. And what has become increasingly apparent as they have faced tougher and tougher opponents, more organized opponents as the season has gone on, is that is not enough to get them out of games where they are ruined in the early game. That is not enough to get them out of games where they're being outplayed in the macro. And No Org is capable, I believe, of doing both, but most immediately, they're going to be scouring in the level 1.
It feels a little bit like an echo of yesterday's series, and for anyone who missed it, take a look back. But most importantly, it's my favorite moment of that entire series between Golden Guardians Academy and Mirage. Game 2, level 1. There were 5 kills total. 4 of them went to Golden Guardians Academy. And the game was pretty much over from there. Prismal ended the game, I think, 17-0? Something like that?
That sounds about right. I mean, game 1... both AD carries had like 20 kills.
Yeah.
So Prismal just kept that form going the entire series.
It's really fun. Hopefully we can see a little bit something like that here today, but of course we are going to be looking towards top.
That's what EG are pulling for. If they can get that bot lane out ahead and fighting, that's where a lot of their teamfight power comes from. So, pay attention to Shiro, pay attention to Evil Genius Prodigies versus No Org as we take to the Rift for the first time tonight, the second time this season. Can I say that? Does it count as one trip to the Rift yesterday, even though it was 2 games?
Yeah, I think so. It was one trip for us, TJ.
Exactly. Load up the bus, boys. We're driving all the way to Summoner's Rift.
I heard that isn't a great...
And it's all green and...
Yeah, but there's like ponies with giant halberds in the middle of the jungle. It's
Dude,
not
that's
exactly like a
sick.
great time. How am I going to open the boxes, TJ?
If somebody said, yo, TJ, do you want to go to this giant pasture that has ponies with halberds in it? I'd be like, definitely.
Well, clearly your self-preservation instinct just isn't as strong as mine.
You know that about me. There was nothing too crazy that happened during our level 1. I would like to highlight that there's very advanced vision for No Org. You can see Anda does have a ward on that buff. And we are actually watching Meteos. That's not his name! We're actually watching Tomio head on over towards that right now, but he did have the Oracle Lens ready, so at the very least, he should be able to clear that ward and not give up any extra information.
The name is pretty fitting, though. I mean, we know that the tendency there for Tomio is just farm like crazy, like an absolute madman, and that was what Meteos was famous for in Season 3, just going insane on the farm levels and immediately rushing to gank at 6.
And like Sarti versus America. That's also very good.
Very good.
And is here to start things off with the top lane presence we promised. No Org already coalescing around Viper. And it's being punished. Look at this, Meteos. The second they got that indication, Meteos is in the area. Anda just swoops in. Fire behind the turret. Will find the kill. Flash over the wall. Stay safe from Aspect. That is disgusting.
That timing is the best timing I've ever seen in North American Amateur. Between Fire taking the all-in.
through the turret.
Yeah, taking the all-in just in time to force Aspect back to guarantee that he can't respond. Then Fire walks through the turret, like you said, to the Raptors in order to punish Tomio there. That was crazy.
I talk this man up all the time. Fire was one of my highlight picks of the last season. He, of course, did qualify for the Scanner Grounds. Didn't manage to play in them because of a rule change mid-season where it prioritized people who hadn't ever been to Scouting Grounds. He'd played in Academy. He spent a split on Evil Geniuses, appropriately enough, as their substitute Academy mid laner when Gyu wasn't able to come over. And by the way, he dominated some of those lanes. He was real good in Academy. Then Gyu comes in. Did pretty well. Gyu had a good season. Went back to the TCL immediately afterwards, though, so he hasn't left too big a mark here in the LCS. And Fire has been languishing down here, unfortunately, ever since.
And we're seeing exactly why he deserves to get back up. Meanwhile, the bottom lane, a gank is attempted by Anda, which I honestly respect. I didn't expect to see Anda anywhere near the bot side of the map for at least the first 15 minutes.
If I had anything to say about that first kill of the game, Matt, it would be that Fire does not take up an import slot.
That is a really good point about that engage, TJ.
No problem.
I would also like to add on that based on the way that we saw them macro, Fire is a really great player who loves to learn and works great in a team environment. We actually had an interview with him that shows that, if you want to check that out, from Challengers Uprising Season 1. I think that's what really made that dive work, TJ.
I think you're absolutely right. Fire, of course, for the purposes of disclosure, does hire both of us to be his agent.
We haven't gotten any money yet, but that LCS contract will really help us out.
He also doesn't know about it, but I'm sure of it. No Org will be pushing in very, very far behind this first tier turret. You could see Big rotate all the way up from the bot lane. There was a reset from Value, so Big just leaves lane, heads towards mid, sees if he can make anything happen, and they do indeed get another play. Why is Viper here? Why is Anda here?
Oh, poor Surdy. Tries to go for the dive, flashes away, survives for the time being, but very quickly assassinated. And they will answer with the dragon down bot, but this is exactly what we were afraid of. There's nothing Surdy can do. Sure, Maokai is great at dodging out ganks, but 1v3, there's only so good your timing can get.
Yeah, just really, really well played by NoOrg. They get in behind the EG top laner twice now. Both times finding traction, second time they find the kill. Both of those kills did go over to Anda, but the pickup there in mid lane and the top, so it's pretty scary, at least for the next couple of minutes. EG, for what it's worth, did respond appropriately. They do get a little bit more gold onto their bottom lane. They do get a little bit more Drakes in their pocket. That will guarantee at the very least that NoOrg can't close this game quickly, which Matt is increasingly looking like something they should be very happy about.
If these dives continue the way they have been, this game is going to be over around the 25-minute mark. Soul be damned. That said, Shiro's doing great in this bottom lane, hanging in there, even in CS, but no lead to be spoken of, and that's sort of the concern we're going to have, because Viper definitely has a lead, Anda definitely has a lead, as does Fivefire, and with that combination, they can get a lot more done here in the early game.
You can see, for what it's worth, that Tomio, as I'm sure Cubby brought up, he had a stat he was very proud of, Tomio is farming very, very well. He's earned out a CS lead that's been fluctuating, but is hovering around 10 despite him constantly being invaded. Tomio is just one of the best farming junglers in Amateur. And during the current meta, that is valued, but it will mean you're not going to see a whole lot of map impact from that hack room until he hits 6, which he has now, and completes his back.
Anda looking for a kill, though. Tomio smells it out immediately and is going to have to get out of there. Aspect rotating down, but so is Viper.
I'd be really curious how Tomio knew what was up there. Because I don't think it was caught on a ward. Maybe it was just Fivefire moving. Maybe Aspect called it out. It was a really
Fivefire or Viper. I think they would have noticed the pattern by this point.
Oh!
Here comes a gank. Fivefire in trouble. Flashes forward, able to find Aspect with the ignite.
That is kind of disgusting. With the ignite, not find the kill. Meteos will step on some spiders.
30?
And you are right, Surdy is currently missing from that lane. It needed to rotate down towards mid. Felt like they were going to contribute to that mid skirmish, and as a result, Viper gets several plights.
Yeah, Surdy tossed the grasping roots there, but it was luckily not spotted. So that's something. It didn't hit anyone either, so we'll call it a wash.
Here's the 1v1. Aspect misses one spell, and Fivefire hits a full cycle in response. Spots he's dead, flashes away from the Hecarim, execute, and manages to confirm the kill. Really heads-up play by Fivefire, a man whose praises we will not stop singing.
It's a beautiful tune, TJ. A bop, if you will.
Like America the Beautiful or our Champ Select song. Rift Herald is being picked up by NoOrg. That's Anda currently grabbing it. We'll see if Evil Geniuses can get anything across the rest of the map. They do have some presence and pressure down towards the bottom side, where Meteos is currently hovering and where the Drake will be up shortly.
This is a really rough game state here for EG. We knew that they were going to be behind here in the early game because that's what this composition is designed to do, but they really don't have any saving graces. Like you've pointed out, Tomio is ahead in CS, sure, and Shiro is as well. That's something, but for this point in the game, that's essentially worthless, especially if Fivefire and Viper are able to continue snowballing their leads. Like that's going to be towers down in the top lane pretty soon, just 2 plates left, and they may even be able to rotate down and secure this dragon.
But if we're playing the silver lining game for Evil Geniuses, it is that they are a teamfight winning team. They're not a team that normally takes dominant leads during the early game. They want to wait for these objectives, and then they're pretty good using the macro to force 5v5s around the objectives, which they win through their bottom lane Shiro, and their, I don't know what I did to his name, and their incredibly powerful jungler, Tomio, who has spent this entire time farming. So, EG are still on their win condition track. It's not going well for them, but it hasn't been tested yet, right? The rubber hasn't met the road.
It's getting close, TJ, though. I'm a little worried. The top lane especially. Viper is up, quick math, 50 CS, 53.
Yeah, and this Drake could be decisive.
Yeah.
As it does look like No Org are just forcing it, and Evil Geniuses with the Drake at half HP have no access whatsoever. They are completely zoned out. Drake will go over to No Org.
It's really good for them because this is them leveraging their early lead in order to find objectives. This should have been where Evil Geniuses was stronger, considering that they had a much better bottom side and play towards it usually, but like you pointed out earlier,
hey, Matt,
there really has not been any presence from Tomio in any of the lanes except for mid when it was an easy gang.
Tomio just completed Sunderer, though. That's actually nuts. That's so quick.
That's like laner speed. Actually, there's only one
got
other
it
laner
before
with a
another.
mythic.
Nobody else in this game is a mythic. Viper just got one, but got it second. It was the first mythic on the board. That's actually really insane. Here's the Rift Herald, and summons it in mid. We'll see what Tomio can do with that gold, as they are just watching, hovering nearby, as the Rift Herald will be most of the way towards taking down this turret. There's only going to be one plate remaining in mid.
Well, the answer to what Tomio can do, farm the wolves.
But not the blue buff, because Anda has that.
That blue buff's been getting bullied for the past 2 days. I feel like we should start a support group for that specific blue buff.
It's not really a support group then, is it?
It's just very focused therapy at that point, I think.
Yeah. It's not an anonymous support group if there's only one person in the room, you know?
Teams keep bullying me. People keep coming to my house and beating me up. And they're like not even the people that are supposed to be beating me up. Because like I get it. I'm their blue buff and that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help them. But then other people come and steal me. And
I like your blue buff voice.
Thanks.
What region of the United States is the blue buff from?
Sadville, Arkansas.
Really? Because I was going to say it sounded like vaguely LA. You had kind of the California thing in there.
Yeah, he's an expat. Export.
Got it.
From LA to Sadville, just to match his move.
Aspect is underneath this turret, and I don't know why they are still hanging around, because that turret was 100% gone. Fire will drop it. And it does look real good for No Org, as Evil Genius Prodigies have so far failed to find any of their hallmark 5v5s.
And that's all off the back of No Org, who have been taking these really quick precision strikes around the map. You see, wherever Fire goes, death follows. It's a good slogan next time he wants to make a pitch to an LCS team. Just saying Fire.
I like it. Here's Tomio with vision.
Here we go.
Will be stunned. Fire and Anda, both the gold card and the cocoon, burn poor Tomio down to just a sliver of HP.
Able to get away with the onslaught of shadows, and now Viper looking for the 1v1, but really good play there from Surdy. Able to stay safe in that one. Surdy, I want to move back up, Chief. Fire doesn't have the range, but I'd still be terrified.
Here comes a little bit of a flank rushing through that jungle towards the mid lane. You can see Aspect is in trouble as Big and Fire did move in towards it, but very quietly and very steadily, No Org have just chewed away at the EG jungle. And I'm getting close to just calling this because Evil Geniuses have not managed to force their win condition. They have now lost every single tier 1 turret. And they are showing no signs of changing things around.
Yeah, I keep thinking, we get late enough into the game, they're going to turn this one around.
Get it! Fire got it!
That's why he's the king of the mid laner. So now
I feel like it's a little I mean, he's playing an amateur. I feel like it's a little premature to call him that.
Okay, like Crown Prince of the Amateurs.
Okay, I like it. Can somebody use the hashtag challengers up? See, got the cross promotion. Use the hashtag challengers up and send me a photoshopped photo of Firefire. Use that one pic where it looks like he's reliving
from the scouting grounds.
Yeah, where it looks like he's reliving the Honda scouting grounds at every moment of his life. Use that one photo and just put a crown on his head.
It's just every time I see that photo, I hear an air siren playing in the back of my mind.
Oh, rough death sentence as EG try to put something together here in the mid lane. They will grab big.
Teleport.
Watch this TP.
Looking for something, but flanks into stuns. Firefire finds the gold card. Good dodge out there from Mist. And now it looked like Shiro was going to fire away in the back of the fight, but gets stunned up. Firefire gets caught by the death sentence. Shiro, sliver of health left, has to flash away. Will somehow survive this fight for the time being.
If you closed your eyes in terror, which I would understand, only one person died there, so it was a positive fight for EG. You can check out exactly how it happened. Big going down here, EG able to hold the front lines, then things get weird. Viper decides to TP in on the flank. There's just one problem, the fight never broke out, so Viper is TPing into 5. That could be real messy, but Firefire comes around the side, finds stuns, and it does the same, and they are able to get everyone away. Then Firefire starts finding poke, and they're like, well, hang on. We might have something to build here. And EG barely escaped with their lives.
And it was really worth it there, not just for EG, who finally found a kill and hopefully some motivation to stick into this game, but for No Org, you look at the end of that fight, everyone on EG is just a sliver of a health bar remaining. That allowed them to secure that Infernal Drake. So we're setting up for Soul here. 3 Drakes already taken, but luckily Soul won't end the game for at least another 10 minutes, and that gives EG some more time to scale, some more time to set up for those team fights that, as we see, they're really good at.
That was why I made such a big deal out of EG getting that first strike. Because if No Org could get that first strike, then they're up against the wall right now. But because No Org are only sitting on their second strike, it is still doable for EG to find a miracle team fight. As you did just get a little taste of. EG's communication in those team fights is slick. Wicked nasty, as I've been told I'm not allowed to say.
Yeah, that's a Boston term. Casey will be on your case for that one.
And, you know, I grew up in California, and I feel like that's something I feel like it's part of the California lexicon.
Oh, Onslaught of Shadows forces the flash out of value. Boom!
Very
goes
nice.
the dynamite as Shiro picks him up.
That was a crazy prediction on the Moonlit Vigil from Shiro. He read the only possible path of escape and cuts it off. Underneath the turret, big. Will land a nice dredge line. Surdy takes a lot of damage, opts to go back in because Shiro's in trouble. And now this is real bad for EG. Shiro falls, Surdy falls, and I don't know what you do after this. Rift Herald will be summoned.
It was really funny though, TJ. Like, that fight was tragic for EG because Shiro fell, but
what was that
hilarious. I don't know. Don't worry about it.
Viper was
the Rift
close.
Herald being dropped mid-combat was my favorite part of that entire engage. It's like,
Well,
looking for a re-engage, and then I just see the Rift Herald eye being popped.
The Rift Herald was the re-engage. Mid-turn will fall.
It's Pokemon.
I choose you, Geraldo.
Very engaged, first of all, and it was really good onto value. Like you were saying earlier, that Moonlight Vigil was fantastic prediction, but they felt like they bit off a little bit more they could chew by pushing this tower afterwards, because that comes the huge CC. Shiro moves forward, gets depth charge, there goes the gold card after it, and from here there's just no fight left there for the side of EG. So it's an easy one for No Org. The late teleport from Aztec is a disaster. And there goes Geraldo to save the day.
Use turret charge. You know, I realized the other day I was looking through, because it's my little brother's birthday, so I was looking through gifts to give him. And he's really into video games right now, so I was like, maybe I'll get him a Pokemon game. He's around the right age. I don't think I've ever finished a Pokemon game, start to finish.
How many have you played non-start to finish?
Like 3.
Oh. So here's the thing about Pokemon. I would never recommend someone to play the mainline games. Because they kind of suck. Everyone will hate me.
You are going to get so many angry DMs.
No. Here's the thing. They build a great universe. They build a great fan base. And then you use that to play the actually good games, Pokemon Coliseum and Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness, where there's actually like a plot and stakes. It's like someone cared about the story.
Yell at him on Twitter.
Feel free. You're just wrong if you disagree with me. Sorry. So that would be my recommendation for you, TJ. They're a little bit aged because they were both GameCube games, but I think they are the best Pokemon has to offer. And they're actually like completable because there's like a plot. And not just a boring, let's go catch all the Pokemon. Oh no, this person doesn't like us catching Pokemon.
Fire doesn't like Surly existing in the side lane. And will ult in. And that's a pretty guaranteed kill. Oh my lord, look at what EG are doing though. They're just full diving the Baron. You have got to be kidding me.
They're about to get punished for it though, because Viper Value and Big T are here. 5,000 HP left on the Baron. There comes the engage. Dredge lines in. Looks like the engage back in from Aspect. Onslaught of Shadows onto Viper, but he's doing so much damage, just cleans up the fight. And EG forced away from the Baron. This is just the game.
Okay. I mean, I respect going for the Hail Mary. Oh, what is that? Fire. I respect going for it from EG. I'm happy that they decided to take a risk rather than just lose quietly. But to call it a risk is an understatement. There was no way they got away with that.
Yeah, it's just the desperation, Baron. You assume that because you have an Aphelios, you have enough damage. Because Aphelios and Hecarim both put out a ton of damage onto the Baron. But the problem is, like, you're so behind on items that there's no way you just melt that thing.
I mean, with Starcy down, in a couple moments, the Infernal Soul was going to come up, and that was just very likely, or sorry, the Infernal Drake was just going to come up. And that was just very likely going to be game deciding. They would get the Infernal Drake, then they would go for the Baron with the extra Infernal buff. I understand why the call came out from EG. They weren't going to be able to contest either major objective properly. You might as well take the risk. But it didn't work out, and I have to wonder where that aggressive look for EG was around, you know, the 10-minute mark.
When they still had a chance in the game.
Before we got bored and started talking about Pokemon.
Yeah. The important Pokemon inflection point of any TJ in Iberia can.
There's the moment where we go, oh wait, there's just no way back into this. And then we learn about
your tea?
Pokemon Coliseum. I don't have any tea tonight. Maybe I'll make some caffeinated tea during the break.
Maybe that's why you were feeling off earlier. No tea.
Yeah. Well, that's the answer. Viper and Anda will go in here. One inhibitor turned to their name, looking for the inhibitor proper. And EG have just been slowly and steadily zoned out of this game. They will finally get their teamfight dreams, but it is here around the inhibitor, and it is several thousand gold behind. There's no point saying, oh, we have a better 5v5 when you're 10k behind. Is there?
Into the back line. Viper in a lot of trouble. There goes the hook, but it's been turned onto them. The dredge line in. Value. The assassin Ezreal does so much damage. Pure lethality. Just blows everyone up. The triple kill and the full ace coming out in favor of No Org, who are looking to close game number 1 in just over 25 minutes.
No Org, more like no chance, because Evil Geniuses never once had control of that game. No Org started it with the skirmishing, started it with the invades towards the top side of the map, and at no point during that game did they have less vision than Evil Geniuses. They always knew what EG Prodigies were doing on the map, they always knew what they were going to do to counter it, and they were already midway through. We introduced this matchup by talking about EG's teamfight potential. 1, check out how fast this Hecarim dies. It doesn't matter when you're 10k behind. And 2, this was the first 5v5 teamfight that EG really got, if you don't count that little skirmish in mid. It's like they tried that skirmish in mid, EG kind of won it out, and they were like, whoa, wait a couple of minutes. we'll put a pin at
Surely
this.
things
Go
will
back to
get
the
better
lane.
if we wait more time and lose more gold.